Welcome to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick, a weekly horror movie review podcast. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor. Subscribe to get new episodes every Wednesday. We dive into trivia, drink a little whiskey, and of course, give our no BS opinions.
Join our Discord server or message us on social media to talk all things scary.
And if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon.
You can find all these links on our website, twochicksandahorrorflick.com. Thanks for listening.
Now let's get scared.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about The Offering from 2023. This was one that I think we both kind of snuck in at the end of the year and we were just trying to get through some of the 2023 movies, but we both watched it separately and have been kind of waiting for an opportunity to watch and talk about this. So here we are.
It kind of fits our very unofficial theme, which was we recommend a movie we think the other one would like. And so Tawny had recommended Neon Demon, and that was a good choice. I had recommended this to Tawny, but like last year, but yeah, it kind of fits.
Yeah, it does. And it's I'm very excited to talk about it. I did some research, and yeah, I'm hoping that it kind of connects a couple of the dots here. But before we get into the rest of that, Felicia, what are you drinking?
Drinking water. Tawny and drinking water. I had a big project, so Tawny was so gracious to let us record on a Monday night. So it's late in the evening Monday night, and so I'm sticking with water. How about you?
That's fair. Me too. Also got some water on deck before bed on a Monday night.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, it's also, again, been a little while since we've talked. So tell me your updates. What have you been watching, listening to, doing?
So I did not listen to, read, watch a lot because last week I had the flu. I had the flu for like 3 days straight. I felt horrific bedridden. And then I started to revive on Thursday. And I had a big project that I was supposed to be working on the entire week. I really had barely any meetings the entire week, but then I got sick. So I just have been working on that project. But one thing I did watch that I wanted to mention was, I have two things. Sorry. The first one is, it was called the 1984 San Diego McDonald's Massacre, 77 Minutes.
Oh my God.
So it was this documentary about that massacre in San Diego where this unhinged crazy dude went in, and they think he was targeting Mexican people and disliked immigrants and things like that. And he literally went with 3 different like massive machine guns and all types of stuff into a McDonald's. For 77 minutes, he was in there shooting people, and it was babies, children, adult, everybody.
Oh
and
my God.
Steve had put it on because he remembers it, because we lived in Southern California at the time. We were kids, and he remembers it. I don't, but he remembers it because right after, they used to love going to McDonald's, and he was like, he remembers being scared to go to McDonald's because he didn't really, understand what was going on.
Yeah,
it's
of course.
If you want to watch it, I'm a big proponent of hearing stories and people's stories. It is a hard watch because they had a ton, before, definitely because of the subject matter, but he had actual crime scene footage, like the whole tape. The whole tape of when the cops go in or whoever goes in, and with the video and records everything. It was not blurred. It was not like it was like,
this is,
and that got into a conversation too. I was like, why? When my daughter came down from college this past weekend too, so I guess I rewatched this with her. It was it was about the West Memphis 3.
Oh yeah,
that
Paradise
one.
Lost.
Paradise Lost, yes.
Is that right?
And
okay.
Yep. And I had seen that already, and she wanted to see it because she just heard a Morbid episode on it, and you see the kids in that. I mean, if you guys haven't watched it, it's crime scene footage. You see the actual bodies of the kids. And I didn't remember that. I was
Yeah.
so taken aback and disturbed. I must have blocked that out. And I was talking to Steve. When is it really not appropriate to use real footage like that? We went back and forth on the San Diego massacre because I think the aim was to really disturb people and show like this happened. This was horrible. This can't happen again. I definitely think the Paradise Lost, that was no need to
Yeah.
see those. We get the idea with just the descriptions. But anyways, we were talking about that and yeah, so there we go. That was all disturbing. So now this is going to move me on to my next thing, which there is a show. I'm sure you probably all know about it, but it's Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard of this. Yeah.
So my uncle was really into it and Steve watches it. And I've seen a couple episodes. Not my Steve loves cooking shows, like whatever. But I think after all of the horrific things that I fed myself, I was sitting there and watching the episodes with him, and they were so beautiful. So
Okay.
if you guys want to watch just a feel-good thing, Somebody Feed Phil was so wonderful. And very specifically, we watched a lot of episodes. We were binging it. But I watched one on Israel and I watched one on Dubai. Specifically, this is where this thought hit me with these episodes. When we look in the media of these different places and people of different religions and races and nationalities and all of that, it just all seems like we all just want to kill each other in some way or another, right? It's just very painful and sad, and that's all we see. So when I watched this Somebody Feed Phil episode on Israel, it was just so beautiful. I cried. There's whole neighborhoods that are Muslim neighborhoods, and they were like Jews and Muslims are friends. Like these bakers had these shirts, and like it's just these people are living in peace. And then way up in northern Israel, I forgot the name of the town. It's a little town where they don't even have a police force. And all these different cultures, it's very little town. All these different cultures and religions and races live in this little town. And it's just like they support each other. They love each other. And this is just not what we see. And It was the same thing with Dubai. I was like, I had no idea Dubai was, wow. This is like the
So
richest
crazy.
place,
Yeah.
and I have no idea. But it was the same. The people that were talking about, who they are and how they're together. And then he's Jewish, right? And so everywhere he's going, but people are just treating him so warm and welcoming. And it's just this inside peek into really people all over the world, how it really is there to live there and eat there, and for them, yeah, for sure, for them. And yeah, I know it's a show and they, but it just was a sneak peek into another side of different countries that we don't hear about, especially countries that are very war-ridden, and that's all we hear about. So it was really cool and heartwarming and beautiful to see these other parts. Not that those parts don't exist, but the other parts that do exist. And so I just wanted to nerd out on how happy that show made me. And we've been binging it. And I have cut back on true crime starting Sunday.
Okay. I was like, you laid it on real heavy with that first one. And I was like, Felicia, that's too much, bro.
It's too much.
You got to pull yourself back again.
Yes.
I think that's something I could not watch. I really can't do real life, images and footage and stuff. It's a little too much for me, but yeah, that sounds good about Somebody Feed Phil. Is that, am I saying it right?
Yep.
That
Somebody
Feed
good. Phil.
I want to check it out because I do also like some of those like heartwarming, just like, and I've kind of been getting a little bit more into like cooking stuff. I don't know if I'm like totally probably as much as Steve with that, but we love Next Level Chef, which we just started watching the new season of that tonight. So
nice. Yeah, there's always like it's an emotional one too. It's not just like we're eating food everywhere. He has like a lesson, and he talks, and he's just such a happy guy. He's just always freaking happy and smiling. And it's a whole lot of fun.
I love that. Okay.
My last thing is this weekend, I got my hair done. I'm super stoked. I am back to a bob. It feels good. I feel like me. I was sitting there with Steve, and Steve is always like, you look beautiful no matter what you do. Right. So hopefully he really thinks that, because that's all he ever tells me. And then I don't remember what we were talking about, but he randomly said, oh, God, my favorite haircut on you is a bob. I just love it. I was like, okay. Yeah. I had that next day, I had an appointment booked. So
you're like, done.
She was wonderful. So thank you. I'm super stoked. Feels good.
I love it. Yeah. As soon as we got on, I was like, oh my God, your hair, it's different. And if you're not on YouTube, it's a little bit more blonde. It's a great bob, dude.
She's amazing. She worked almost all day on this Saturday. Saturday, she just worked and was really meticulous. And she's 4 minutes away from my house.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I got to go a little ways, 30 minutes, but it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth it when you have someone good. So.
Yeah. I knew somebody once who was like, they would drive to Portland. Like Portland, I think is like 7 hours away, 6 hours away, to maybe even more than that, to get their hair done. I'm like, okay, that's overkill. I don't think I'd be going to a different fucking state, bro. Like,
I mean, there might be somebody, right, that is around. Maybe give it a little
You would
look.
think so. You would think so.
I think there's good hairdressers everywhere. Yeah,
do a little research.
Yeah, she used to live in California, and she goes back to California every 6 weeks and is completely booked 14-hour days for the entire week, and then comes home because the people wait for her to get there to get their hair done. Yeah, people. I think in that case, like your friend, I might try to test some other people out. Just it's a long drive.
Yeah, that's too far. But I mean, you find a good person and you stick with them. That's sure.
That's true. I definitely would be sad if she was like, oh, Felicia, I'm moving. I'd be like, I might need to kidnap you.
What can I do?
Kidding, guys.
To make sure that you're not going to move away.
But that's it for me. That's been my little life. How about you?
Okay. Positive and very sad updates. Well, sad of the documentary. For me, I have a very violent update and a very fun thing. So my violent update, it's not bad though, is we watched Brawl in Cell Block 99, which I like, both of us, we just loved it. It was so good. It is the same director. I think his name is Craig Ziegler. Don't quote me on that. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. But he did Bone Tomahawk. And what's the other one that he did? It's called Dragged Across Concrete. I haven't seen that either. But I feel like this guy is pretty known for like kind of like, I want to say realistic violence. And so like that's something that in Bone Tomahawk is good. And that's on my list to make you watch at some point.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Very soon. But this one, Brawl in Cell Block 99, it's on Netflix right now. It's got Vince Vaughn in it. And Vince Vaughn plays a very different character than normal. He's like very intimidating. I really loved this movie. It was really simple. And yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. It was like, I don't know. I was going to say something about it, but I don't want to spoil it. Just check it out.
Well, I'm excited. Yeah. I love Vince Vaughn. So
yeah.
I thought it was going to be one of these reality prison shows.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay. Brawl on Cell Block 69, 59, 99.
99. Close.
I got the main part, the Brawl on Cell Block, so I'm sure it'll come up if I search.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize that Bone Tomahawk was actually this guy's first movie, and he did this second. This one looks more low budget and a little bit more like, I don't know. Yeah, just more low budget. So just prepare yourself for that emotionally. But I like really loved it. It was such a good movie.
Does Bone Tomahawk have that guy? Is this is he called the Machete, or is that a movie he was in? He was in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I do.
Oh,
Danny
okay,
Trejo.
Yes, Machete was the actual show. I thought that was his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I just made all of that up. Okay.
Yeah. That was made up. Anyway, but it just had like good, realistic kind of violence. It was great. We just have to talk about it after you watch it. Anyway, okay. I'll move on from that. My other update is over the weekend, we went to Universal Studios. I can't remember if I said this on our episode or not, that we were going to go do this.
You said we were going.
Okay.
Yes.
And so it was really fun. We got to ride rides. Yeah. And it was a really good time. It was like, I kept saying like, this is my Disneyland because I'm not like super into Disney. But of course, TV and movies is more what I'm into. So it was like really cool to go to a place where there's like little lands, you know, there's like the Simpsons land, and then there was like the Super Mario Brothers area, and then there's a whole Jurassic Park area. It was just like really neat. So day one, we just went in and rode a bunch of rides, which were different than I thought they were going to be. They weren't like roller coasters. They were more like 3D screen combo rides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was good though, because I was like,
but you went on Jurassic Park. That you saw dinos.
Did.
I love that.
Definitely saw some dinos. Yeah. And that was kind of like a coaster. I mean, it did take us through something. So that was cool. Sent a picture in our Discord immediately to Felicia and was like, we just got off the dino ride.
So happy. And you so Universal Studios, is this the one, I've been on it years ago, with the Jaws ride where Jaws pops out, right? Universal Studios in Hollywood. Yeah. Yes. And you could see the Amityville Horror house as well. Or are these no longer there, or?
Yeah, they said, so we did do the studio tour is what I think you're talking about.
Yes.
It's so funny. I talked to my dad tonight too. It's his birthday. So I called and talked to him for a second. He was like, we went, and I also saw the Jaws shark, and I was like, oh cool, it's still there. But I think that they changed the other things around a lot, so we did get to see that was crazy. And then but we also got to see the fucking this is a throwback to one of our episodes we did semi recently, the plane crash scene from War of the Worlds. They like had it still built on one of their like lots, and they said that it's one of the most complex like sets that they've built, and it's still there. Like you can see it. It's crazy. And I was like, they must be reusing this. Otherwise, why would you keep that? Since when was that? 2005, I think. 2004.
Oh man, I want to see that so bad.
Yeah.
That's very cool. It
was really neat. But then the coolest part, in my opinion, so I didn't see an Amityville house. We did drive through some like neighborhoods where they like pointed out a couple things, but
I didn't mean Amityville Horror. I'm sorry. It was the Bates Psycho House, not Amityville Horror. Sorry, up on the hill.
Oh shit, I didn't see that either. Okay. So maybe they've changed or moved or whatever. But we did at the end. I forgot entirely about this, but they had a whole setup from Nope, the Jupiter's Claim like area. I know. I took a bunch of pictures.
Man,
I haven't posted them yet, but I will. But it was really cool because we like drove through the little like Jupiter's Claim town, and there was like the wishing well and the like the big blow up version of him.
I totally know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, his name is escaping me right now.
The balloon that he ate, right? Or you're saying it was more of just like
I think it was the balloon that he ate. Yeah.
The balloon the alien ate.
Yeah. And then they had like just the wacky inflatable people like dancing around a Star Lasso experience sign. It was really cool. I don't think it was like actually what they used to shoot. I think they kind of rebuilt it or moved the stuff there for this, but it was really cool. I forgot until we were on the ride, and I was like, I think we get to see some of this Nope stuff. So that was really cool.
I would go to Universal Studios just to do that tour.
Yeah. It
That's
was
very cool.
cool. It was like a whole hour long, and they did say that it changes, all the time because of what they have going on. So worth going back and checking out again for sure if you've already done it.
I'm going to have to, we go out to see my family a lot. So one day, even if it's just, I'm sure they have tickets just to do that. And I would love to do that. I am curious about something though. Last episode, we were talking about how I took that magic mind on the cruise, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll take that on my vacation. I was curious if you did. And if you did, what happened?
Yeah, I did. I was really excited to take it, and it ended up being better even than I thought, because like you were saying, you normally just think about doing this when you're working or there's something productive going on. But I was like, I want to be totally present and like fully energized and focused on the fun that we're about to have. So it was really great. And I feel like it was really easy to travel with. So we stayed at a place where we got like a free trolley to and from Universal Studios. And I would just like take it in my little fanny pack on the trolley, and I would just like drink them in the morning before we got to the park. And so it was really easy to just maneuver around. But it was really great because I feel like it made me more focused on the fun, if that makes sense. But it wasn't too much where it made me anxious. We've talked about that several times, and it's just I can't do too much caffeine for sure. But I realized looking at the ingredients that it's probably because of Rhodiola rosea, because it's an adaptogen and a nootropic that reduces fatigue and anxiety, improves physical and mental endurance, and enhances mental clarity, which is like what I mean by saying like I want to be focused on the fun, I guess, But it really worked, and I was like ready to ride rides all day. So
that is so awesome. So you were able to just, okay, work life, projects, all that stuff that's going on, close the book for right now and just focus on my fun, not carry any of that with you.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to be tired for that stuff either. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really nice. Yeah. To just be like full. I felt like I was having like a whole little kid. I was like, yeah, little kid vacation for adults at Universal Studios.
I love it.
Yeah, it was really, really great. And again, I've been drinking them this week coming back to work, because always it's difficult to come back from doing something fun and get back into the swing of things at work. So it's been helping on that side as well. But yeah, so you've been hearing us talk about this since like January, and obviously we're fans. If you want to check it out for yourself, you can get 20% off of your first order using the promo code 2chicks20. So that's TWOCHICKS20 at magicmind.com/Jan, JAN, 2chicks, TWOCHICKS. Okay. Are we ready to jump into this movie?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so we are talking again about The Offering from 2023. The director is Oliver Park, and I tried to look up what he had done before, but I think this is actually his feature-length directorial debut. He's done like a handful of shorts before now, but nothing that I recognized. So for cast, we've got Nick Blood plays Arthur, Emily Weissman plays Claire, Paul Kaye plays Hamish, Alan Cordner plays Saul, Daniel Ben-Zinu plays Hyam, Sophia Weldon plays Sarah Scheindel, and Anton Trendafilov plays Yasla. I'm sorry, I butchered that name. I felt like I was doing pretty good until that one. For scores, so IMDb gives this a 5. Wait a minute. Did I do that backwards? A 3 out of 5? Does that sound right?
And IMDb did?
I think it's a 5.3 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll just go with that, because I wrote 5/3. That's not right. I think it's a 5.3 out of 10.
5.3. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 74%, and Letterboxd is a 2.3 out of 5. I was surprised by these ratings. They're kind of all over the place a little bit, but anyway, I just have a very quick sentence to sum up this movie. So after this, look out because we're going to spoil it. A family struggling with loss find themselves at the mercy of an ancient demon trying to destroy them from the inside.
Yeah.
The end. Look out. Spoil time. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, Felicia, how did you feel about this movie?
So how I felt about this movie was I really liked it. I think you guys knew that, but upon second watch, I still liked it. I noticed I watched it with my whole family, minus TT, of course, and there wasn't as much action. I don't mind that because I think I was really just wrapped up. And I remember the first time I loved it, that it was on the backdrop of a, Jewish community. Because typically when you see demons and stuff like that, it's Catholics or Christians and crosses with demons, right?
Definitely.
So I thought it was cool that this was, a Jewish family in a Hasidic Jewish neighborhood. That was very cool. And all the symbols, like the symbol on the floor, which is just like the tree of life in Kabbalah, but it's, all these Jewish symbols and prayers and Hebrew. And so I loved all of that. And I also remember liking that slow build and that slow burn. This time when I watched it, I still liked it, but I felt everyone around me kind of like shifting, like they wanted more. Like, when are we going to get to the demon wrecking havoc everywhere? And so I started to become really self-conscious of that. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to ignore everybody else. They don't like it. They don't like it. And I'm going to fall in just fall in and watch it. And I really enjoyed it. And my last thing I'll say for right now is the demon was baller. Even my daughter said, "Oh my gosh, it looked so good," because typically we know once you see the monster or the demon or whatever it is, they can really screw it up. I want a whole movie with this thing. Thing, I don't know, going about the forest and stuff. I don't know. More of this thing. It was so good looking.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I love the end. So loved it.
Yes.
I was waiting. So everything happened and everyone's like, whoa, okay. I think they were ready for that. They were waiting for that. All that excitement and energy and havoc. And then she's back under the table. And I felt Steve. I actually didn't feel him. I could hear his fingers start tapping on his chair.
Yeah.
Like,
frustrated.
Like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
I heard my middle daughter go, "What?" And I was giddy. Because I knew what was going to happen. And then, boom, it happened. And I went, fuck yeah. Oh, wasn't that great? And everyone's like, oh, man. So that's my experience. Did
they all like it in the end, even though it was a little slow? And
yes, that was the feedback. They all liked it. They really liked the Beast. In the middle, I think my daughters liked it and were curious, and they really liked it too, where, like, for example, when the father dies and they're covering the mirrors and things like that, and one of my daughters goes, "Oh, what the hell?" And I'm like, this is very, very common. This is a typical what happens when someone dies and you're Jewish, you cover the mirrors. And I was telling her why, and they made them all like it even more. They're like, okay. Oh, that's cool, or why they ripped his shirt. And so they liked that to find out, and that made them like it more. Steve's comment was like, okay. Yeah, the Beast was good. Better than no.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll take it.
So that was that.
Okay.
How about you?
Before I say what I thought, I want to say that my first two notes in my notebook are tear shirt ? Mirrors ? So I'm glad that you're here, that you can clear that up for me as well, because I didn't get a chance to research it. But I was like, if anybody knows, it's Felicia. So
yes,
thankfully I will get to hear that as well. But I really, really like this movie a lot. And I'm kind of surprised at how I feel like it's not getting the credit that it's due. I put it as number 5 of my top 5 2023 horror movies.
Yes.
Like, I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a really great fresh take, like you said, as far as like the people that were set with in this Hasidic Jewish community, I feel like it's really great from that perspective, but also from this perspective of this demon is just truly sinister in a way that I just don't think that we get to see on screen. And I think that is what made this the most effective for me is so often we see demons just all they can do is make somebody scared. That's like their only goal is to like scare people, I guess. And this was so different because it had a goal. Or maybe it's like taking souls or whatever, but it's really this like nebulous thing. And so the only thing that they do is they make people scared. I loved this very intelligent trickster demon, like manipulating people to do what it wanted them to. And I had a similar experience where I had watched it alone the first time. And so this time Jade watched it with me. And I was like self-conscious the whole time because I realized things that I didn't realize the first time. Like there just was a lot of like annoyingly loud jump scares. Like I didn't realize how many times there's just a loud little girl screaming as a jump scare. So I didn't love that as the second watch, and it does kind of drag, like watching it with somebody else and being weary of their response. You're kind of like, oh man, there's these like lulls, if you're not like fully invested in the story, but I still really enjoyed it. And Jade ended up liking it in the end too. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. I think it's a lone watch.
Yeah. Sit
or
down
watch
alone.
it with somebody for the first time. You sit down with somebody. But if you, I had the exact same experience. How interesting. Yeah. And the jump scares, I noticed those more, these jump scares. And then it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of cheap. But I didn't feel that the first time.
I didn't either.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm like, man, these scores, like, I just feel like they're really low. 2.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's a couple issues with this movie, I guess. But like overall, I feel like it was really good.
All right. I could tell you. So the mirrors.
Yeah.
There's like a few different things. And you notice this a lot with Judaism, actually, when there's things that you need to explain. There's like different takes on it. But one is they cover the mirrors so that the soul or the spirit of the person who is deceased doesn't see their reflection and possibly become trapped in the mirror. There's another reason that it's to allow the mourners to not see themselves when they're mourning so that they do not become self-conscious and they're allowed to really just unleash their pain, their sadness, and really, really mourn. I think there's something also like it helps you to take any type of focus off yourself and really focus on mourning your relationship with God, the loss of your loved one. So I know when we say the Shema, which is one of the most important prayer in Judaism, during that prayer, you cover your eyes and completely are just focused on the words of the prayer. So there's a lot of that within Judaism too, of focus and really just taking out those distractions. There may be even other reasons. So, hey, if you're Jewish and you have other reasons that you were told, please do share. The tearing of the shirt represents the tear in your heart after losing a loved one. It also is an outward sign of your mourning. And if you think, I always think of, and these are movies, I've never really witnessed this in real life, but Italian in Italy, the women that are mourning and they're wailing and they're covered in the black scarves and that's the whole idea, is just letting your pain out, allowing yourself to mourn, like how he ripped his shirt and he was singing. It's just like not stifling it. So those are just all outward ways of your mourning and how you're feeling after losing a loved one.
Interesting. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, because
she walked up and ripped his shirt when he was just sitting there, and she just went up and cut his shirt there.
I know.
My dog goes, what?
I also was like, that was weird, but okay. I imagine that it's just a cultural thing.
Because he wasn't doing anything. He was just like sitting there like that, and that's like the absolute opposite of what you want to do. You want to mourn.
Yeah. Was there anything about while he's in that same scene, I noticed that there's all kinds of stuff on him and I couldn't make out like what it was, but it was like a band of something around his arm and there was like something on his head and I couldn't tell what it was. Yeah.
Yes. And so this is all, I just want to make sure I always get this word wrong, how I say it. It is tefillin. Tefillin. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but what it is this is how Orthodox Jewish men pray. So, and it's all in the Bible, and it's part of also morning prayer. So I say morning prayer in the morning, and it is all about, and God said to put this prayer upon your heart, upon your hand, the center of your eyes. That's why we have mezuzahs on our door, because it also says put these words, the prayer, on your gates and on your doorways of your house. So it's quite literally that's what we do. And so that's what it is. And so typically Orthodox men, they wear this that has the little prayer on his head. I don't know if you saw the little box.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so the whole thing is, the tefillin is the small black leather box, has a prayer inside of it, prayer scroll.
Oh,
just like our mezuzahs have prayer scrolls. I'm pointing because my front door's there. Have prayer scrolls within them as well. And then the leather. And why they do that is that's what's outlined in that whole prayer in the Bible, is exactly what to do. Same with the garments, where you'll see the men you saw probably in the movie, where underneath their shirts, they have like a white shirt that has these threads hanging down. That's just to remind you of your promise to God and to do good. It's a constant reminder. They wear it, and it's just all outlined there. So that's why they do it. So since they're mourning, this is, he's probably wearing that. You'll also see, if you see a bar mitzvah for Orthodox, typically is who does this. The boys will wear that. It's only for men, and boys will wear that and say their prayers. So that's what that is.
Okay. I like how they had all this stuff, but it wasn't like we didn't take a whole lot of time to deliver a bunch of exposition about what was going on. Like, I got enough that these were cultural things that I just didn't have the context for enough, that I'm glad that it was like a passing thing. It really made you feel kind of immersed in this like other set of people. Like you were like, oh, okay, this is just normal for everybody, Yeah,
because you didn't really need to know what this stuff is. You see it and you're like, what is that? But it wasn't really a part of the story, except it's who they are.
Yeah, it wasn't
that it's a part of their everyday life, especially when it comes to prayer. So you get to see him light the Shabbat candles, and they had Shabbat and stuff like that, but it was just them being them and not distracting. I agree with you.
Yeah, I kind of wondered if the director was Jewish, and so, but I don't think that he is. I do think there's another producer, maybe two, who were. So I have a couple notes here about it. While the director is not Jewish, he is a dedicated student of cinema, looking to bring attention to the fact that one of the first mainstream horror films was 1915's The Golem, which told a story rooted in centuries of Jewish folklore and mysticism.
Ooh.
He said, everyone talks about the cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu being the greats while overlooking this beautiful story. He says, the writer/producer, Hank Hoffman's script for The Offering offered an area that we haven't seen before. It's about bringing back to light the fact that Jewish horror was where noir and horror and German expressionism began. So he worked really closely with Hoffman and two other producers, Jonathan Younger and Sam Schultz. Parks set out to absorb and recreate the richness of Brooklyn's Hasidic enclave.
Very cool. Very cool. I do have to say, I kept saying the Bible because I'm so used to saying that, but it was the Torah, but they overlap. But I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, good clarification.
That's very cool. Now I want to see that. The Golem.
The Golem, yeah. I know, I'm curious as well. We've talked about, too, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It's something that we really should do at some point, just because it is one of the first. So maybe we should do like a set of these or something, like some of these first silent black and white horror films. That'd be fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then I just have like one other miscellaneous quote from somebody. Christian Zilko of IndieWire gave the film a grade of A- and praised its craftsmanship and production design. He wrote, "There's no shortage of great movies about exorcising demons from people's bodies, but this might be the best film about trying to keep one in." I thought that was cool.
Ooh, good quote, buddy. That was good.
Very well said. Yeah.
It's not to expel it, but to trap it inside you. And that last scene where the husband is like, he has to stab himself, right? That's the end. He has the demon within him, and he has to stab himself to trap it with the pendant on. And the demon is tricking him yet again. But in that moment where you don't realize his uncle is the demon, one of my daughters was like, "Come on, just do it." And I'm like, you know how hard it would be to plunge a dagger into your chest? Even with everything going on, it would be insane.
Yeah, it would be so hard because you're overriding your very base, your first instinct, everything's gone and your last instinct is to stay alive. Like, it would be so hard to do it.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, you have the rabbi, the first rabbi, right, who kidnapped that little girl and put her in that spell or that circle. And obviously the demon goddess had tricked him in some way because he didn't realize the little girl would be hurt. But even just to trick a little girl, to take her and, and put her in this particular situation, betraying her trust just to bring your dead wife back. I mean, she won't get hurt. Just have her be a part of the ceremony. I wonder, I mean, I wouldn't. I don't want to not kidnap kids. I don't feel like I would, but I saw Pet Sematary, so I'm not trying to bring anyone back.
Right. Yeah, we know how that ends.
It's not a good idea, but
because sometimes that is better.
Yeah. I will say what was frustrating everybody was that husband. Nobody liked him. Everyone was super mad. Like, can you just stay in the damn circle? Can you just do what he told you for a little bit? And he's just, of course, and I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was trying to think, okay, well, his wife is pregnant and he hears her screaming out there. But like, he was barely in there, like not even a minute, really. Maybe a minute where he's already like, oh no, I got to get out. He's like, oh my God.
Yeah, he is kind of a frustrating character. And I feel like he is one of the things that I feel like I didn't love about the movie. The other thing is Jade didn't like this whole sequence. And he mentioned it just goes on for like too long. Like it's so long. And he was saying like a lot of horror movies do this where there's like this climax at the end where everybody's just like screaming and it just goes on forever. And there's always wind, and it's like, it's too much. We've seen it too much. And watching it a second time, I felt the same way. I was like, man, this scene is long because she's up in that window and you're like, when is she going to get down from this fucking window? Like what is going on? And everybody's just screaming and it's like just chaos. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. The first time I didn't even think about it. But another thing that caught me this time was how many times is something going to be behind the curtains?
Yeah.
Something behind the curtains, little feet behind the curtains, a little movement in the curtains. Is like, yeah, I get it. But I know I sounded irritated now. I still liked the movie and it didn't bother me. I just noticed it the second watch where I didn't the first watch.
Yeah, same. Nothing really bothered me the first time, honestly, through. I really enjoyed it. But definitely the husband, his acting was grating on me the second time. I feel like I didn't like love him the first time, but this time I really noticed like there's something about his body language and his facial expressions that make him look like a little kid. Like I don't know how else to describe it, but he's just, I don't know. He gives me these very weird, like juvenile vibes. He's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's weird. You'd have to go back and I think watch for this if this isn't ringing a bell for you, but I don't know. He was like weird, the acting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he wasn't my favorite. I loved the father.
Oh man, he was so
God,
good.
he seemed so heartbroken, but he still signed his house over to protect his son. So good. I mean, his uncle was good too. You really seemed angry, and the wife was fine. She didn't bug me. She did not seem fake. She did seem scared when she needed to be scared, but she was also just kind of there.
Yeah.
Character.
Yeah. It was like a very neutral performance, which is fine. But definitely like the guy who played Hamish and the guy who played his father like did an amazing job. And I saw some quote, I didn't actually pull it, but it was some kind of quote about the acting. And it was like the older actors in this movie understood the assignment, whereas the younger ones did not. And I was like, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate because they really needed to nail that, to bring that believability. Because the first thing that Steve said was the main problem I had with this movie is, why wouldn't you leave? And I'm like, well, he goes, the first thing I would do, I'm seeing some dead kid run around, is I would leave. I'm like, well, Steve, wait, you don't believe in ghosts or spirits. And he goes, exactly. I don't even believe in it. And if I saw that shit, I would leave. Like, why did they stay? And I said, well, I mean, she was seeing this stuff. Yeah, she was seeing this stuff. She was there with her husband. Her husband had some stuff going on with his dad, and then his dad dies. So maybe he's like, I don't know. And I was like, I didn't disbelieve why they were still there, you know? So I don't know if maybe that was, but maybe they could have sold that a little better. I really enjoyed everybody's experiences when I knew shit was going down.
Yeah.
Like when Hamish, and they're like, oh my gosh, yay, his uncle's alive. That's what my family was saying. They're like, oh my God, he made it. I thought he died. And I'm just like, so giddy over here. And I love that scene where the one guy, the scholar, is just talking, and he's like, don't step outside the circle. Crack! His neck just swings around and his neck is cracked. He's on the floor, and then we take off. Oh, yes. I love that.
Oh, me too. That is a really great scene because it's so quick and brutal. And I also like the scene of the father's death. Obviously, it's sad that he dies, but it happens so quick. You know, I feel like you're a victim to this thing, and it takes your ass out. Like, you do not have a chance to fight back.
And it's all to get that child. That's the whole goal of this. Didn't they call it like a goddess beast? They said something about it being a goddess. Just wants children.
Yeah.
Any way she can get them. Oh God, I just keep thinking about, like, I want a big poster of that thing. It was just so majestic looking and scary. It'd be probably really evil though to have in the house, especially because of the context. But dude, God, it was so cool looking. That's probably something, if I could change, I wish there was more of
really that. Okay.
I mean, let me backtrack. I think there was just enough that it made it very scary. I just want to see it again. So I don't know if more would have made it good. Probably not. But I would love to see it more. Like if there's a movie about this thing and how it became, like where it started and stuff like that. Filmmakers, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I liked it. I liked the character design. I wish they had gone a little bit more practical than CGI, because I do think it would have looked better and it would have held up longer and it would have been scarier. That's my only qualm with the monster, is like, I just wish they would have dialed back that CGI just a little.
So I definitely thought there were points. Yes. Even the end. The end works because it's so fast and you don't expect it. And I love it. But there was more CGI on that. And then certain other parts too. There was some CGI where you see, but when I first see it.
Yeah.
And it's just like this dreamy thing. To me, I thought it looked real, but I know it's not real. I just thought it was so beautiful. I'm terrifying. It's not pretty. It's very grotesque, but And then the next time you see it too, when it's like, right, I think over her, I think it was. But then the rest of the time, there were points where it definitely looked CGI.
Yeah, like just a little too fake. But this is a good segue into talking about Abyzou. And this is one of the things that I really went down the rabbit hole on just because I was curious. I was like, is this actual folklore? What's the story behind it? And all of that. So that's mostly what I have.
I'm excited because I know nothing.
Yeah. Yay. Okay. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. What were you going to say?
Oh, no. I was like, I wanted to research it so bad. Guys, I even tried to take it from Tawny. I was like, I'll do the research. She's like, nope, I will.
And then I was like, shit, maybe I should have let Felicia do this because she's going to know more about Judaism than me. But I was like, she'll just fill in the gaps,
Well, honestly, it didn't even need to be a big point. You know what I mean? So you didn't need a whole Jewish history.
It's good to know those things, though, about the mirrors and the tearing of the shirt because I had no idea. But yeah, okay, so let's talk about Abyzou. So in folklore, Abyzou is the name of a female demon. Abyzou was blamed for miscarriages and infant mortality and was said to be motivated by envy as she herself was infertile.
So she's real?
This is a
real folklore?
Yeah.
Like a Jewish folklore or just folklore in general and they merged like it into Judaism for the movie?
I can't remember. I actually deleted from where, but it's, how it says in the beginning of the movie, it's like from the east and something else. There's like two regions where it says that it's from those. That's where it is. But it's also known as a bunch of different names in different places. So I think there is some Judaism like crossover, but I'll kind of get to how we got to the point in the movie here in a sec. And I think you'll kind of see at least a little bit of how we got there. So a little bit just more about this. The female demons, among whom Lilith is the best known, are often said to have come from the primeval sea. So I thought that was fucking interesting.
Oh.
In the, I'm going to butcher this word. I'm so sorry. Septuagint? Septuagint. I don't know.
I think that sounds good. That's the best one you've said so far.
Thank you. I agree.
Septuagint.
In the Septuagint, the Greek version of the Hebrew Bible, the word abyssos is treated as a noun of feminine grammatical gender, even though Greek nouns ending in os are typically masculine. Abyssos is equivalent in meaning to Abyzou as the dark, chaotic sea before creation.
Ooh.
Isn't this interesting?
Oh, that's so cool. Yes.
Have you ever heard of the Septuagint?
No.
I was wondering about that.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know. Maybe in my graduate studies, but I sure didn't remember it. The Septuagint.
I mean, the Greek version of the Hebrew Bible,
No, I don't.
Not shocked.
I'm not that learned. I'm ashamed.
Don't be ashamed. Okay, so the word also appears, Abyzou, also appears in the Christian New Testament, occurring 6 times in the book of Revelation, where it is conventionally translated not as the deep, but as the bottomless pit of hell. This, I got it from Wikipedia, and I will put the links to these things in our Discord. But the person who was writing this, their name is Barb, so my next sentence makes sense. Barb argues that, in essence, the Sumerian Abyzou...
I'm sorry, that just made me laugh. Because you're right, if you would have just said, so Barb says, you'd be like, ooh, who is Barb?
My friend Barb over here, yeah.
Sorry, go.
My friend Barb argues that, in essence, the Sumerian Abyzou is the grandmother of the Christian devil.
Oh my God. I loved studying the Sumerians. That is so cool how everything is like twining together. That's not even a word, but that feels right to me.
Yeah, no, it is. I think, yeah, you're right.
That is very cool.
Yeah. And there's a little bit more here. So in the late antique Testament of Solomon, Abyzou is described as having a greenish, gleaming face with disheveled serpent-like hair. The rest of her body is covered by darkness. The writer of the Testament appears to have been thinking of the, I don't know how to say this either, Gorgonian? Whatever. or the icon of the Medusa's head, which
Mm.
often adorned Greek temples and occasionally Jewish synagogues in late antiquity.
So I'm sure you're going to, or maybe
Take me there. Take me there.
talk about what made them create her the way she is in this movie, if she's supposed to look like Medusa. And I'm super happy they did change it up. I feel like in horror, we see a lot of women with long flowing hair being spooky. So I'm glad that's not what it was, but I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this because I kind of would have liked a little bit of this, I think, but I think it
Okay.
would have been very fucking difficult to do it well and do it scary. Because I think that she's kind of fish-like. Like I found an image online and it's like her bottom half is like a fish tail, almost like mermaid looking.
Ooh,
And then
okay.
with Medusa serpent-like hair. And I think that could be scary, but you'd really have to like execute it well. And you might have to lose the fin tail because I don't think you could get her like standing on it without it being comical.
100%.
It would be weird. But this did make me go down the second question, which was like, well, why the fuck? Why are we looking at this like goat looking figure? So back to the movie version of Abyzou. Despite the fact that Abyzou is not endemic to Judaism, the offering slightly tweaks 5,000 plus years of tradition by linking her to the binding of Isaac. As one character explains, God instructing Abraham to sacrifice his son was part of a larger plan to trap the demon.
I loved this. So clever, because something people bring up a lot is like, I don't know how much a lot is depending on the circles you're in. Why would I want to follow a God that is like asking a father to kill his son and then is like, nope. Just kidding, don't do it. Like, this is like, What the heck? This seems not cool. Seems ridiculous. So I liked how this very, what am I trying to say? I'm just going to say controversial, even though that's not what I want to say. A story about asking a parent to kill his son and then stopping him from doing it. Like, why the heck would God do that? This is why, but we didn't know. We didn't know at the time, right? That's why it's not documented. So I loved this. I loved it.
I liked it too. It really was I feel like a well done situation where they were kind of bringing them together. And actually, my next quote ties into that a little bit. So this is a quote from the director. He said, she's talking about Abyzou. She's terrifying because she will stop at nothing to get what she needs. But she's not a monster in her own eyes. She's just trying to feed. There's a deep connection with the sacrifice of Isaac, and that's fundamentally what we were aiming for as the main metaphor of the movie, this sacrificial story that crosses religions quite nicely. Just like Christian movies can be seen by people who aren't Christian and still understood and felt, you can 100% feel this too. You don't feel alienated just because it's set in a Hasidic community.
Yes, wonderful. I like that too. I didn't really think about it, but I think it's very cool that the audience can be dropped into this community and just be with these people as people, only because they're so different. Specifically, this type of Jewish community is so different from what people normally experience day to day. And so it's very much like on the outside and like, what the heck is that? But now you're brought into it. They're not making a big deal about all the different things like the curls or what they're wearing or what prayers they're saying. They're just doing their thing, but you can relate to the people.
Yeah. Yes, totally. And they were very relatable people. I loved like Hamish. I feel like Hamish was like such a character to identify with, kind of, because I feel like we all have somebody like that in our family. Like, that's not who I imagined being like a Hasidic Jewish man. Like, I don't know. Everybody else is like very buttoned up and he's just like, I don't know. He's like got this like very relaxed air about him. And I just didn't expect it, but it made him like really feel really real.
Yeah. Cool. And within even those communities, right? Hasidic Jewish community, just like you said, we see it as like, oh, like so different, buttoned up. They have these rules. They're dressed very differently, all of that. They're just people as well. Yeah. And they all have personalities. And they all, they might dress the same and do all of the stuff that they do for very specific reasons for the religion, but they're all also people, right?
Yeah.
And they have issues like the prodigal son that comes home and wants to and is gambling too much or whatever he's doing and losing his home, or just like anybody else. They're just people. They have problems like everybody else. Yeah. I love that too.
Yeah. So Felicia, you probably know about this binding of Isaac. I did not, so I had to dig in a little bit because I just don't know anything about this stuff. So I'm going to read a little bit about that just so everybody knows. So the binding of Isaac is the Genesis account of Abraham at the command of God attempting to sacrifice his son on Mount Moriah. In sum, Abraham fastens Isaac to an altar and prepares to incinerate him before an angel commands him to stop. But I hear you saying, okay, where are we going? What about this ram thing? I thought you were going to explain this. Here we go. So here is the quote actually from Genesis. I don't even know how to read the way that you quote things in the Bible. 22 colon 1-1 through 13.
Excellent.
Close enough. Okay. It says, and Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering instead of his son. So it's actually the form of the demon that was last trapped in. Which is dope.
Gave me cold chills. That is sick. I love that.
Yeah. That was good, right? It's a good tie-in.
So good. Thank you, filmmaker, for that. That is so good.
Yeah. At first I was like,
makes you wonder, was that really what was going on back then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I really like how they kind of wove some stuff together. At first I was feeling like, I kind of wanted to see this goddess the way that she's typically portrayed, but they did kind of layer these things on top of each other. Like the amulet thing is a thing, but it's a little bit different in the way that there were amulets that people used to ward off Abyzou, but they were made out of metal, and it would typically have a picture of I think an angel or something whipping the demon. So that's how you would treat ailments, is because you would take whatever sickness you had and attribute it to a demon, and you'd get these little amulets, and it would, people would feel like it would protect them from that. So
that's cool.
There's that, but it's not exactly the same as the amulet in the movie, but it sounds like the one in the movie is maybe a little bit closer to Jewish traditions and stuff. I know you said that there's a little scroll prayer in something on your door, so it sounds like that's a little bit more of that side of things.
Yeah, there is in the mezuzah there's a kosher scroll where somebody writes out the whole prayer on the little scroll and you stick it in there, and so that does very much align.
Something else that I want to go back to, actually, you mentioned it earlier, was that seal carved into the wooden floor. I had a note here that it's in the style of a Solomonic pentacle. At the center of it is a symbol known as the Metatron cube, which is used upon the angel Metatron for aid and protection. Mm-hmm. In this story, however, the symbol is referred to as a sigil and a sacrificial altar used for the sacrifice of children. But what you said, it was something else earlier?
Oh, that's very interesting. What I noticed right off, and I have a necklace of this, is the Kabbalistic tree of life, where it was the larger picture of it, where it has the circles like this. It's shaped like this, and it has all the lines going through it, and then there's a center, the larger thing that he was carving in. That's what it looked like to me. That's what I thought it was, and if you see, and I'll post it in the chat as well, because when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, right in the center of the floor. But maybe it was altered a bit, so maybe it wasn't that at all. That's what it looked like to me, though.
Yeah, Okay. Yeah, it sounds like they did just kind of reuse it for, or like something similar for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really liked all of this stuff. I thought it was like a really well done movie. And this is also why I put it as, I can't remember if it was my top or second pick, but for the Stabbies, I said like most deserving of a sequel. Like I would totally watch more of this.
Yeah, me too. I would see a prequel, a sequel, something about this specific demon goddess, just more like her throughout history, different things like, I don't know, her throughout history, different things. And then, yeah, what's happening next? Because she's out. So for you all, the ending was so great because you think, oh, maybe everything's okay. And she tricks the wife, the pregnant wife, to running in the center of that circle, and then just goes, takes her.
Yeah.
He's like, is the baby okay? And she goes, oh, yeah. And all of a sudden, good.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's bleak. It's a bleak ending, but like it's really good because, again, I just feel like demons really aren't usually portrayed as this like smart or sinister when they should be. And like this whole movie makes you feel like, oh my God, these people didn't even stand a chance. Like they had no fighting chance of, because this thing is so tricky and smart and it's a shapeshifter. It can just like take the shape of whatever person that it wants to. And so how the fuck do you fight against that? You can't. And everybody gets dead. You get murdered.
Yeah, it would take a really, really, you'd have to be like super strong in your will and kind of like the old priest from The Exorcist. Like just really don't listen to it. It's teasing you. Even he wavered, but definitely, definitely the husband was absolutely no match for this demon. They were all screwed once everything was left up to him.
Yeah, totally. Like
maybe Hamish could have did it or his father, but him, nah.
Did not stand a chance. But I do have one more note from a quote from the director. So he said, hopefully this is the beginning of what turns into a longer story that we can tell. The depth and the richness of Judaic culture is there on screen. It's screaming that we need more because there's more to tell. But ultimately, it comes down to what the audience wants. If you scream it loud enough, you'll get more.
Ooh. Does he mean we need to scream?
I think so. I think that's what he's saying. Hey, audience, if you really liked this movie, be loud about it. But I just, there's only so much noise that an audience can make if it doesn't make enough money. And I'm really curious. I couldn't find budget and box office numbers, but I hope it does well enough for there to be more of this because I really liked it.
Yeah, me too. I hope so too.
Okay, you ready to rate this?
Ooh, girl, I am. So I really like this movie, and I feel where I land on it is a 3.5 out of 5. Because I was looking at some things that are higher. The things that I watched that were 4s, I feel like I enjoyed more. And I think what might have maybe the second watch and noticing those things might have brought me down a little bit to where I would have been if you've asked me after the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
And then I almost gave it a 3.75, but I gave Barbarian a 3.75, which I think is insane. I don't understand why I did that.
It's too low.
Yeah, it's way too low. I gave When Evil Lurks a 3.5, and I also really liked that movie and the visuals. I think there was just some things that were a little off, and I think that's how I feel with this one. Only, because those things we mentioned. And now I feel bad because we're like, we want more of this, and it's not a very loud scream.
That's fine, though. I feel like it's still a good score, 3.5.
I do. It's not a 5.
No.
So, yeah.
Okay, so that's 3.5 is where you landed. Yeah. And you really liked Evil Lurks a lot more than I did. Not a lot, but a little more than I did.
Yeah, I remember all good things about that. especially the visuals and stuff. Oh, I feel bad now. What are you rating it?
Okay, I think I'll give you mine and we can, go from there. I think I'm going to do actually a 3.85.
Ooh, that's a really good score. How did you come to that score?
Well, I was looking at my other 3.85s and like I did Talk to Me and Bones and All. And what else? There was one other one, X. And I feel like I liked it on that same level. I do think that it's not a perfect movie, that like the pacing is a little weird sometimes and the acting from the husband is not great in my opinion, but I really don't have too many complaints about this movie. So that's where I landed. What do you think? Does that change your score?
Yeah, I'm gonna copy you. Okay, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. I know that
only
seems
if it's in
like
your heart.
I'm being a total sellout. This is what I was like. So when I was looking at my 3.9s, I did enjoy those more. We're looking at things like The War of the Worlds and things where I was just like, holy shit, the whole time. But I did really love this movie and the stuff that you brought to the table with all like the history and the background of it. I really did enjoy that. I think what was knocking me down were just those things I was thinking about that stuck out, like the curtain and this. And I also think it partially was me being in my head a little bit because I could see people shifting in their seats because they wanted more. So I had to keep refocusing myself. And so when I said 3.5, I felt really off about it. So now, and my last thing I'll say, you guys, I'm sorry, is what stopped me from giving it higher, and I promise you, I'm not making this up just because Tawny score. What stopped me from giving it a higher score is when I saw Barbarian was a 3.75. I enjoyed Barbarian more than this movie. So I thought to myself, I can't rate it a 3.75 or higher because of Barbarian. So here's what we're going to do.
I'm listening.
I am going to rate The Offering, like you, a 3.85.
Okay.
And then I am going to go to Barbarian and rate it a 4. This is going to set everything right. So I am going to add a little comment on our very professional spreadsheet and changed to a 4 from a 3.75 on March 4th, 2024. Okay. And everybody, I can do that because it's our podcast. But I did just recently watch Barbarian last month with Steve. I think I mentioned that to everybody. Yeah, I made Steve watch it and we all watched it together with the older girls too. And I liked it even more than the first time. So
it's such a great movie. I gave it a 4 and I feel like even I rated that too low. I sometimes go back to that movie and think I should have given it a higher score. So
we really should have. I mean, it's with some really good ones, but I mean, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it even more the second time than I did the first time.
Yeah, it's such a good rewatch. I'm like tempted to just give it a full ass 5. I have a couple problems with it, but I rated it too low at a 4, We got to figure this out.
We'll figure it out offline, guys. We'll let you know what happened, but I can say like I'm looking at Infinity Pool. I liked it more than that. You might not have. A 4 point. We both gave Infinity Pool 4.25.
Okay.
So usually we cut all this out. Now you got a little taste. Right. You're like, little? How long do you usually go?
It's been a while. Yeah.
We take it seriously. We really want to be spot on with this. So
we do. It's been a while since we've left in our conversation about what I'm going to rate it. So
So whatever we come out to with Barbarian, we'll let you know.
We're going to revise our scores.
Yes.
So good. Anyway, those are our scores for that. And we don't know what we're gonna watch next time, right? So we got to figure that out. But
yeah, we'll figure that out. And remember to go get your magic mind and use our discount code. Tawny, what was our discount code?
It's 2chicks20, and you're going to go to magicmind.com/Jan, 2chicks.
Okay, excellent. I didn't have it in front of me. Thank you. So definitely go check that out. And if you like us, please do go follow us on Instagram at 2chicksandahorrorflick, or you can search for us on your favorite social media platform and follow us there. What else, Tawny?
You can support the show by giving us a like, review, and subscribe on whatever podcatcher you're listening to us on. That's it. So we will see you next time. We hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.